My name is Juliana,
I'm Rebecca.
and this week we'll be doing our review over Get Out, the horror but not so horror film. I want to discuss a couple things before we get started. You can find this film on Peacock and or Amazon Prime for rent. And this movie is more of a jump scare and not really a horror film. Like, it fits in the genre, but it's not super scary. There were some parts of the movie that were trippy, where she was, when the
What do you mean by trippy?
like freaky, hallucinating, when the lady was hypnotizing him, which is his girlfriend's mom, and she told him to sink, and he sunk, but it was like he was watching her from a TV screen.
Mm-hmm.
That was trippy. Because he was in a pit of darkness, but he could still see, like, his conscious mind and his unconscious. He was watching his unconscious mind.
Sure. I mean, that's what they were. One thing I thought was very interesting was somewhat towards the beginning with the deer and the deer head, and that he could hear like the deer talking to him, and that happened to be the deer in the basement, kind of how they kind of correlate the two. So it kind of gave you like a preview of this deer meant something in the very beginning. Like, it didn't just, they made it
symbolic.
Yes. So that I like how it was written with that suspense.
Yes, the movie was very suspenseful. And the setting of the movie was also, the setting wasn't suspenseful, but it was creepy. It had that, like, eerie feeling to it once they got out of the city. You know what I mean? Like, once they, like, stepped foot on that road and hit that
Well, they were supposed, I mean, I think that was the vibe they wanted to
they
project.
They projected that vibe very well, especially when you know that all of the other, I don't want to say all of the other people that the girlfriend brought back into town with her, they were also hypnotized.
Oh, of course.
And that's why they were so creepy and off-putting. And I liked the blind man at first. He seemed like he was the only normal person there until the very end, and I was very shocked that it was the blind man out of everybody.
That was all of them.
Right.
I mean, they all played a role in what they were doing in that town. I wasn't sure what the bidding was about and what they were going to get out of it, but he wanted his eyes, and so I guess they were trying to take something, but there was still some underlining questions I had, like, what was the whole purpose behind it? Because you've seen that they hypnotized them and basically programmed them into being what they wanted, what version that they wanted them to be, and how they spoke and etc., until the hypnotism wore off or something happened.
Flash.
Well, right, for him, it was, for that one guy, it was just a flash. We don't know. It was the shotgun sound for the other guy.
No, it was the flash. He took out his phone at the very end.
That's right, at the very end it was the flash.
He took out his phone at the very end and flashed him. Which I also think is a symbolic. I also think it's symbolic because you would assume that the Flash meant remember. And since no one there in that town really had any pictures and wasn't taking any pictures, you would assume that the girlfriend's mom hypnotized them to remember their lives and
I don't know.
after the Flash, or like hypnotize them out.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, but it feels symbolic. The Flash, like it feels like it could mean something.
Yeah.
There were a lot of editing done in this film. A lot of scenes where there was even maybe a flashback moment at one point, I believe. Or a dream.
How about the friend that just knew that this wasn't good for him to go?
Yes, that was so fun. He was hilarious.
Yeah. He was just like, "No, I done my research. I'm telling you, they done. These white folks done captured these black folks, and they're turning them into something else." He was 100%, and they laughed at him.
He was convinced they were sex slaves. So
yeah, that's true.
I thought that was pretty funny. What? Overall, the movie itself,
it was really good. You really thought that she was
innocent. You really thought that she had no idea what was going on.
The box.
Yes, in her closet, or that little door in her room.
I wouldn't have asked for the keys. I'd have just left. I'd have been like taking off running.
I'd have been gone.
I don't know. It's not part of the view, but I was just like, if I found a box like that,
I'd
be like gone.
I would have done called an Uber or something. He's lucky his buddy found him when he did.
You're right.
I mean, otherwise, dude might not have gotten away. So,
I mean, I don't know,
but
it's kind of hard. I mean, it was. It was kind of a strange setting sometimes. It was a movie that held your interest for sure. I would say for most people, just the curiosity side of it.
Yes. There were points of the movie that had you hanging on to the edge of your seat. Like, oh my goodness.
Right.
What really did me in, well, we've already touched on this point, but what really did me in and made me realize how good these actors were, when she pulled out the keys in her purse. She was like, you know, I can't let you leave. And I was like,
well, no. I mean, that was the whole thing. She acted like she didn't know there was going to be a party. She acted like she was so innocent. Like she didn't notice.
And it makes sense now why she was freaking out when he wanted to go when they were at the lake. That little scene.
She wasn't so much freaking out. She just felt like, you know.
She like manipulated him almost into staying.
Or guilted him. I don't know. But yeah.
The overall movie itself was very well written. And it was very well played out and portrayed. The actors did an amazing job. The setting. If there was a book, I could compare it to the book. But the filmmakers and the writers just did an amazing job producing this film and making it to what it is. It definitely holds your attention And it definitely makes you wonder and makes you think, especially with the hypnotism. And her dad was a neuroscientist, he like does surgery on the brain, which is a plot where the blind man wanted his eyes, and they were literally going to gouge out this man's eyes.
Were they though?
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, you would be you, but I'd be playing as you.
Right. So
I don't know what he meant by that.
I think that they meant that they purchased whatever they were bidding off, and he purchased the ability to take, I don't know. They were cutting, and I wasn't very clear on all that part. I mean, I don't know if they were trying to like take his identity as part of it, but the thing is, when they flashed, they came out of, so makes you wonder, like with the other guy, like the gardener or the yards guy or whatever, and then the housekeeper, like what did they take from them? Like, they wanted his eyes. We get that because he was a photographer and he had a good eye.
I don't know if it's so much take from them. Maybe it was for the gardener and the maid. Maybe it was so much as
it was something.
Use them for their abilities.
No, they handpicked them.
Right.
So, yes, she lured them back to the house, but they were handpicked. Like, the blind guy said, yeah, I know you. Like, he
knew him.
It wasn't a mistake that she was dating him. Just like she dated the other guy, the gardener.
Did she date the girl, though?
No, I think she was, like, really good friends with her or something.
Yeah. See, it's just
I think they were all handpicked for something that they had, some quality that they had that they were trying to take from them.
Yes. But again,